Jamal sat in his cold, damp prison cell, his head buried in his hands. The weight of his situation pressed heavily on him. His thoughts replayed the brutal fight in the shower room, an attack he never asked for but had to defend himself from. When he transformed, he had unleashed a power that terrified even the most hardened inmates. He hadn't wanted to hurt Rufus and his gang, but they had left him no choice. As the cell walls seemed to close in on him, his mind drifted further, back to the series of events that led him here. It all started with his reckless cousin, Clyde. Clyde had always been the one with big schemes and no discipline. One night, as they walked through their Brooklyn neighborhood, Clyde had pitched his latest idea with excitement. "You've got those powers, Jamal. Don't you realize what you can do with them? Why keep struggling when you could have anything you want? Man, you should be rolling in a Lambo, not driving that old beat-up Honda Accord." Jamal had glared at him. "Man, keep your voice down. Only a few people know I have this power, and I want to keep it that way, okay? Besides, I only want to use my powers to do good, Clyde, not for stupid, crazy money-making schemes." "Man, you're crazy." But Clyde wouldn't let it go. He ranted about how Jamal was wasting his gifts, about how being a goody two-shoes would get him nowhere. Clyde: "Okay, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, tomorrow night there's a new nightclub joint on Jerome Street. Can you drive us there, Florida?" Clyde laughed. Clyde was referring to Florida Evans, the character from the 1970s sitcom Good Times. Her character was known for always doing the right thing, even if it meant staying poor as long as the family kept their integrity. Jamal eyed Clyde suspiciously. "Are you up to something? Why can't you just take the subway to the club?" Clyde: "Nah man, it's all good. I heard some banging shorties be at that club." In reality, Clyde was plotting to rob a nearby jewelry store only 2 blocks away from the club. Little did Jamal know that he was used by Clyde as the getaway. "All right, I got nothing better to do on Saturday, so I'll drop you guys off. But I ain't going in with you knuckleheads." Clyde grinned. "Just drive us to the club, man. If it's dead, we might need a quick getaway. If the party is poppin', I'll call you, and you can go home." Jamal hesitated, but finally sighed. "Fine, but make it quick. I'm no chauffeur." That Saturday evening, Jamal drove Clyde and his 2 companions to the club. As they disappeared into the night, he leaned back in his seat, music playing softly on the radio. But something wasn't right. Clyde and his 2 companions entered the club, blending in with the crowd for a brief moment. They walked past the bouncers, pretending to be just another group of partygoers. But instead of heading toward the dance floor, they immediately moved toward the back exit. Without hesitation, they slipped through the back door and into a dark alleyway. They were never there for the party. Clyde glanced over his shoulder to make sure no one was watching before signaling to his crew. They moved quickly, covering the 2 blocks on foot to their real target, the jewelry store. The plan was simple: smash and grab. Clyde pulled a hammer from inside his jacket, took one last look around, and with a swift motion, shattered the glass door. The alarm immediately blared, sending a piercing sound into the night. They had to move fast. About 15 minutes later, Clyde and his crew came sprinting back to Jamal's car. Wild-eyed, panicked, clutching bags full of stolen jewelry. Jamal: "What happened in the club? Y'all look crazy." Clyde banging on the window: "Man, just open the door. Let's get out of here." Jamal hesitated before finally pressing the automatic unlock button. As they scrambled in, Clyde yelled, "Drive! As fast as you can!" Jamal slammed the car into gear but demanded, "What happened?" Clyde shouting, "Shut the F up and drive, man! Just drive!" But it was too late. The blaring sound of police sirens filled the air. The blue and red lights flashed behind them as 2 squad cars closed in. Jamal gritted his teeth, gripping the wheel. "Oh shit! What did you guys do?" Before anyone could answer, the police bullhorn blared through the chaos. "Stop the car! Get out with your hands up! All of you!" Jamal's heart pounded. As the tires screeched to a halt, the 4 young men hesitantly stepped out, hands raised. 4 officers, guns drawn, surrounded them. Jamal: "Officer, you must be mistaken. I didn't rob anything." but the officer didn't hesitate. "You're all under arrest for armed robbery." Jamal felt the cold steel of the cuffs lock around his wrists. His fate had been sealed, not by his own choices, but by the reckless greed of someone he had trusted. Now, back in his cell, Jamal's eyes burned with determination. He had a trial coming up. He had to prove his innocence. To a certain degree, Jamal's impulsive cousin Clyde had a point. If Jamal transformed into the Knubian Knight, he could easily overpower the prison guards, smash through the fortified walls, and flee from even the most sophisticated security measures. However, Jamal, being the decent and principled man he was, preferred to pursue justice through legal means, aiming for exoneration in the courts. It seemed Clyde did make another valid comparison. Jamal was very much like the legendary figure Florida Evans, steadfast in his resolve to do what's right, even if it meant sacrificing his own freedom for the sake of integrity. Stay tuned for the next thrilling episode of the Knubian Knight.